you have known me for many years, right?
20 years. 20 years.
20 years. Is it 20 years
Yep.
now?
Yep.
Okay. So Hein has known me for 20 years. We've known each other for 20 years. I did some consulting work for you that ages ago, and you've built a very successful franchise. So I'd just like to read a little bit about what the Automagic story is. It was founded in the mid-1990s. You created a niche in the auto body repair industry, and you really filled a gap between the chip repairers and the full-blown panel beaters. And you've kind of uniquely developed your own kind of technology and have a very broad client base. And I love the way you say here that Automagic is a beauty parlor for vehicles where cosmetic surgery is performed.
Yeah.
So with that background, Hein, can you tell us a little bit about you and about how the business started and where you're at the moment?
Yeah. So how far do you want to go back? I mean, I started with Novus and...
Yeah. So let's just go back, a little brief summary of where you're from and kind of give us a little bit of an overview of where you're at the moment, where the business is at.
Okay. All right. So in 82, I joined Nedbank, and there I became clerk, check clerk, sub-accountant, accountant, and then the manager of a branch. I then, in 91, saw an ad in an international mag, Novus windscreen repair. So I got on the plane and flew over there and got the distribution rights for Southern Africa. And we had like 60 plus agencies. Most of the guys were concentrated on repairs, but also got involved in windscreen replacement. And in 1999, I sold Novus distribution rights to a major auto glass replacement company. So during my travels to and from the USA, I met the founders of a company called the Paint Bull. Now, the Paint Bull was a man in a van that repaired little chips and scratches and so on vehicles. And I bought the distribution rights for Southern Africa and sold, I think it was about 10 Paint Bulls. And this is where the thoughts of a drive-in shop for paint repairs and drivable cars came from and was born. So at the time, and this is where I met with you as well, Ilana, you will recall that's 20 years ago. Yes. I approached Philip Vosloo from Franchise Partners, of which you were a part of, if you can recall.
Yes.
And in 2001, we opened our first pilot shop in Benoni. And then I've got Derek Urquhart, who is a CA, to join us as on the board. And in 2002, we registered Automagic Holdings, which is now like 20 years ago. We currently have 21 franchises and 65 agents. Now, the difference between a franchise and an agent is a franchise. Yeah, interrupt when you're ready.
Yes, sorry, no, absolutely. That's great. Yes, the difference is.
Between a franchise and an agent is that on a franchise, we direct the vehicle. So we made a deal with most insurance companies where cars were traditionally like parked in traditional panel beaters. We offered the insurance companies a quick turnaround time on, bumpers, scratches, and accidents, and something that we could repair and get out of the shop like within a week, instead of it standing there for 5, 6, 7 weeks. And obviously there was car rental involved, and there was inconvenience involved, and so on. So yeah, as I said, at the moment we have 21 franchises, 65 agents, and we're repairing in the region of between 4,000 and 5,000 cars a month countrywide.
Wow, that's a staggering figure.
Yeah. Phew. So on the structure of the company, I started as CEO way back in 2002, and then recently I stepped back and I'm more looking after the marketing. And Philip, who was your partner at Franchise Partners, is now our CEO. And then we have Derek Urquhart, who is our financial guy. And on the team, we also have Peter de Bruin as the COO, and also Richard van der Spey. So the team really got big, and the business is good, and yeah, we hope that things carry on the way that we're doing at the moment. So
Yeah, wow, that's a startling. Those figures are startling. I mean,
it,
who would you say generates more business, the franchises or the agents? Because now the franchises have
no,
got the relationship
definitely,
with
yeah,
insurance companies.
definitely the franchises, because we located them in positions where we knew close to sort of motor cities, if you like. So,
Okay,
we have guys out on Stadium Park area, and we have Centurion, and we have Gesina, and
right,
and so those are franchises. And then what we do when we go to smaller places, let's say like uh, Potch and Kuruman and so on, we go to an
right,
existing
correct,
panel shop and then sign them up as an agent, and then
right,
they. So the long and the short is that we can go to the insurance companies, and which we've done, and tell them that we can repair their vehicles countrywide. So we have make a deal with a existing panel shop in the Kurumans and
yes,
the
right,
smaller
right,
areas, yeah.
yes,
And then we direct the vehicle there, and then Philip and his team developed what we call our electronic platform. So whatever happens to each and every car, and obviously this gets completed by the shop owner or somebody in the shop. So we know exactly what is happening with that car, when is it due to be completed, and when will the car rental end, and so on and so on. So we manage it from the beginning to the end. And then we also have, obviously, in the end, we have a CSI from the client, which we share with the insurance company and with the shops. And, we reward our shops for obviously having good CSI scores.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like you've really got your business model sorted from a location perspective and from a strategic perspective.
I would think so. After 20 years, we should be in a good place, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think, because the motor industry, I mean, it's quite startling that vehicle sales have increased so much and from the shortage of vehicles.
Sure.
And
And with that, and with the load shedding, the number of incidents have also increased. The bumper bashing and cars driving into one another and so on. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah, I actually never thought of that. With all the traffic
yeah,
lights out, that would have an influence on your business.
exactly,
Of
exactly,
course.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
what about other economic influences, Hein? I mean, what's
Well,
going on now in the country with the petrol hikes? Does that have a knock-on effect on your business?
because we don't have a national transport system, for want of a better word, where people can get to work and get back to home. Most people have to
Yes,
rely on their own vehicles. So
yes,
we've seen an increase in business, if you want to call it that, over every year so far, simply because
yeah,
people have to use motor vehicles or
they
buckies or
do.
whatever to drive to and from work, and do their daily business if they're not office bound. So
Yeah,
there are lots and lots
yeah,
of cars. I'm sure you've seen this, lots and lots of cars and vehicles on the road.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I was looking at the Motus results today, and they did say, the aftermarket is still very strong. And even though,
Absolutely,
their performance might have declined to a certain degree, that's still a robust business. And the aftermarket is still a very alive and well.
very much so. Yes, yeah. So I mean, you
And
see
tell
the
me,
number of
Han,
cars that.
yeah,
Mm, I'm listening.
yeah, tell me something, you know, with new technology. I mean, we talk about laser welding and computerized measuring systems. How have you adopted to those kind of changes?
Well, adapted and adopted, so
Adopted and adapted,
fortunately,
correct?
yeah, fortunately, we do not repair vehicles that needs to be towed in, so the majority of the vehicles that we repair are obviously drivable vehicles. So sure, there has to be settings in the alignment and whatever goes with it, and we have the necessary equipment with that. Obviously, not as sophisticated as one would have in a structural repair shop, but yeah, we have to make 100% sure that when the vehicle leaves our shops, that they are in 100% drivable condition again, and obviously the look side of it as well. So it's a first of all, obviously the repair of the exterior, interior of the vehicle, and thereafter the roadworthiness of that vehicle in having the right sort of alignment on the wheels
Yes.
and traction and whatever goes with it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And I'm curious, from a marketing perspective, how do people know to come to you as opposed to a fully fledged panel beater?
I think that we have been sort of I would say that about 90% of our work comes from insurance companies. So we obviously sold our product to the insurance guys,
Right.
turnaround, quick turnaround, lower cost, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have deals with most of the major insurance companies, and Philip and his team developed this electronic platform, which the
Yes.
insurance companies can also see with their vehicles that are in our shops and the state of repair, and when it's possible will be released. So with that now comes car hire, which is a cost to the insurance company. So we need to and want to repair the vehicles as quickly as possible, in order to reduce car rental. But yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about having
Yeah.
satisfied and happy clients. So nobody is
Yeah.
satisfied or happy that's had an accident. So they
Yes.
are,
It's certainly a
excuse my
grudge
English.
product.
So we have a saying here where we say they already the mooring when they get to the shop. So we
Yeah.
we have to manage that, and then and
Yes.
you will recall in your days where we said we will take care of your baby, baby being your car, and
Mhm.
I think we still live up to that slogan or whatever that we had at the time.
Yeah. Uh, and so the insurance companies refer vehicles to you, and you have some drive-in. Do you have a lot of drive-in cars that come in and see if you can help them?
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. I think that once a car was in our shop, people tend to when they have a little bumper bashing or whatever, then they tend to bring their car back. So it's and we're talking over a period of 20 years now, and I think that we've built a good sort of solid come back to us client base on that. And
Yeah.
yeah, our shops are fairly full, and we, like I said, we deal with most insurance companies, and as far as drivables are concerned, and what we're offering them is a happy customer
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
turnaround time, so there's no lengthy car rentals or anything. So we're trying to
Yes,
cut,
yes,
cut costs.
exactly, which is a huge thing. I mean, my own car's been in panel beating for about 3, 4 months now. And, I hear
Yeah,
about your quick turnaround. That's a huge draw card for a customer. Because
yeah,
as you
well,
say, they can sit in panel beater places for ages.
yes. Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
we try to. I mean, don't hold me to this, but if possible, we try and get the car in on a Monday and out by a Friday, depending on availability of parts and the amount of damage, etc. But that was
mm,
really the selling point at the time, and we try to stick to that as much as possible.
yeah,
So we have to keep a client happy, and the client is the customer or the vehicle owner, and the other customer is obviously the insurance company. So we have to keep both parties happy, cost wise and time wise, and whatever goes with it.
yeah. And I mean, there's really a lot to learn from you guys. I mean, having been in the business for so long, firstly, your model of franchising, your franchises and your agents in the more outlying areas.
Yeah,
That's a huge takeaway from how your business works.
yeah.
Han, can you tell me a bit more about what you offer franchises and why it's beneficial to be part of the franchise system? You did mention, obviously, the insurance side, but is there technology and other factors that franchises can benefit from?
Absolutely. We have technical guys. I don't know if you ever met with Richard van der Spey. He's a very, very technical guy, He
Right.
he spends his time on us trying to do things better, quicker, uh, for the client, and then obviously, but we started off with this ad, that was still in your time. We'll take care of your baby being your car, and this is really what we sold in the beginning, and we made very, very sure that it's still made to this day. So there's a, a questionnaire type of thing that the client completes when they take the car after repair, and then we have a team that contacts the client 2-3 days later and asks them if everything is okay, and then we tick that
Right.
and we load that on our electronic platform, so that we know that if there is a problem, we would rather
Right.
address it sooner than later. So,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So they're really
yeah,
part of a system that supports them.
yeah.
What about new franchises? Is there scope for offering new franchises?
No, no, we don't have anything available at the moment. So, in the major cities, the Witwatersrand area and the Durbans and the Cape Towns and the PEs and all those places have their shops, and we direct
Mm,
all the work to them, that comes
I
in.
see. I see. And do they have
Yeah.
their particular trade areas that they operate in?
I'm sorry, the question is?
Do the franchisees have a trade area they operate in, or
Yes,
are they
what
flat
Yeah,
business?
well, we try to make it convenient for the client, first of all,
Correct.
that they don't have to drive too far to go to a shop, So
Yes.
we approached, I can't remember the company's name, and you'll probably know them, but they did node studies for us at the time of number of vehicles in particular areas. And I think what they really did is they looked at the bigger shops and the car new car shops and so on and so on, where these guys obviously made their studies on where to open up their shops, and so we
Right.
really just followed
Right.
followed suit and said, well, that's we get as close as possible to them. It's obviously we have to be in more industrial areas simply because of the spray painting and whatever goes with it, but we try to be close to the major centers, and we had a node study done on that. So that's why we don't have any franchises available at this point in time. So if anything happens, then it will be a existing owner that
Owner
wants to
that sells
retire
over.
or whatever and wants to sell his business. Yeah, but there's quite a queue for
Right.
that anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So we're
Okay.
blessed, Ilana.
Yeah, you are. And it speaks for itself. So it's testimony to how you've run the business that, is acute about franchises. And also that you
Yeah.
haven't overtraded areas and you understand the market,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
how much a franchisee can take on, what is viable for them,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah. So
amazing.
they all have to adhere to certain turnaround times, a CSI, customer satisfaction index, that everybody gets, and we open and close tabs on those numbers and those indicators. So if we see that the shop is maybe a little over full, we will rather redirect a client to make sure
Wow.
that he or she gets a vehicle back, within the specified shortest time
Wow.
possible. Yeah.
Wow. That is truly incredible. I mean, that you're able to monitor that and you really work with the franchisee. So that is a
Yes.
huge benefit of not being a standalone operator. That
Yeah.
speaks
No, no.
volumes.
No, they're part of a family, and we saw
Yes.
that about 2 weeks ago. We had our 20th awards evening, where all the franchisees and the players in the market, the paint suppliers and part suppliers and so on, we all joined, and we really had such a good time. And I was so happy with the total good vibe that was there between everybody. It's and
Yeah.
everybody just became friends. The paint supplier is a friend, and the part suppliers are friends, and yeah,
I
we buy
love
we buy
that.
a, obviously buy a lot of paint and parts and so on. So we try
Yeah.
to match these people up and make sure that everybody, and that works for everybody. It has to be good
Yes.
business
Yes.
for both sides. Yeah.
In fact, that was just my next question. How is it in the whole ecosystem of your industry, your suppliers, the different players? And you say there really is cohesiveness and
Absolutely.
workability between all of you guys,
Yeah,
which is a
well,
huge
let me
job.
tell you this, that when we had this awards evening, it was quite a costly affair, but it was sponsored in overall by our suppliers. And so we had all the franchises there, and we had all the
Oh,
suppliers there.
really?
Yeah, so it was just magic stuff, you know. It
Oh,
was really,
really?
yeah, yeah,
And again, that's a lot for people to learn how to include franchisees in forums and how these things are really important. These kind of
yeah,
conferences aren't just nice to haves. They're very
yeah,
important for building relationships and building rapport amongst people.
yeah,
I, I,
yeah.
I really think that's a key point.
There's relationships and
Yeah.
taking care of one another, you know. So
Yes. 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 Which
it's
is close to the very essence of what franchising is.
that's correct.
Um,
That's correct.
Hi, just a couple of last questions. So, the
Sure.
industry at the moment, where do you see it going? Where do you see it heading within the bigger picture?
Well, I read an article this morning that the car sales seems to be good, you know,
Yes,
and forever increasing, and there's waiting lists for this and waiting lists for that. So it seems like, you know, obviously we're dependent on the economy and what's happening out
yeah,
there,
yeah,
but it seems like it is buoyant and things are really
yes,
going well, and we're looking forward
yes.
to another good year. If that's the right word, I don't want anybody to be in accidents, but yeah, somebody has
Yeah,
to repair it.
yeah.
So yeah, we're very upbeat on the next couple of years, if I could say that. You know, so and thinking of maybe expanding into Africa or whatever. You know, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay. That makes a lot of sense.
yes, yeah,
I think there's a
yeah.
lot of
You look,
potential there, Hein.
yeah, you'll be surprised. You know, I think in all of Africa there's something just close on 50 million vehicles, and here in South Africa I think it's like 13. So you can imagine the
Wow,
Nigerias and the Kenyas and those people. That's big business. It's
big business. Yeah,
yeah,
and I think, car sales are, might be a bit challenging there. So having
yeah,
car repairs might be a better option for a lot of
sure,
people. And the
yeah,
roads and,
yes,
the infrastructure. I mean, it makes sense to have that kind of business.
yeah, yeah. The traditional panel beater will always be
Yeah.
close by, you know, because somebody has to fix the vehicle, and you have accidents up daily, or almost hourly type of thing, you know. So,
Yes. Yes.
but
And
yeah,
also, it might be an opportunity for franchising there, to actually franchise,
exactly,
have franchisees and empower franchisees within, the
exactly.
continent.
Well, you know, the whole success, and I say that in inverted commas, of our business is because it is owner operated. Every franchise is owner operated. It's his
Yes.
business or her business. You know, it's and yeah, we direct as many vehicles as we possibly can, or what we ever get in, we direct to the shops. But then again, the brand gets known uh, in the general public thing, and
Yeah.
so you have drive-ins as well. You know, where they want to have their vehicle fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it really tells people what franchising can do for you. And you're a
Oh
perfect
yeah.
example. You're a perfect
Yes.
example, your business structure and system of how franchising can work. And
Yeah.
I really love that and appreciate that input.
Well, again, you know, we got it from you guys, from franchise partners, remember, and that's why
Yeah.
I headhunted your boss, Philip Vosloo, at the time, who today is our CEO. You know,
Yes,
so it's,
wonderful, wonderful. You're in good
yeah,
hands. You're all in good hands with you and Philip
absolutely,
and the rest of your team.
yes,
Yeah, and
yes, exactly.
and just last point, I mean, I think it's amazing talking about research, the fact that you realized that you needed to do it properly right from the beginning. With us, I don't know who you used for your geographical research. I don't know if it was Stephen Walters.
Oh
Anyone?
yes, exactly,
Was it
exactly. Then
Stephen? He's
Stephen
brilliant.
Walters.
Yes,
Yes, yes,
yes.
yeah,
So really, sometimes you've just got to spend short-term pain for long-term gain. You've really got to
yes.
kind of this. People think franchising is kind of an easy get-rich scheme, but it requires a lot of investment upfront to do it properly and to reap the long-term rewards.
Yeah, you know, we we saw the niche in the market, and after we opened our second shop, I'll never forget, we had a visit from the CEO of an insurance company, and they said, no, they want to use us, and they're hoping that we're going to expand. And this is your repair and labor rates. I'm not going to disclose that because that was way back then. But
Right.
it was, and then the word gets out. You're saying, but you go to the other insurance company, say, but this company is using us, and this is our results and our CSI. We were very sort of, and still is very focused on customer satisfaction. So that really is what it's all about. Because whoever gets into an accident, so we have a saying in Afrikaans, they already the murin, so you have to manage
Yes.
that. Yeah,
Correct.
and
Correct.
because his or her baby is damaged, and
Yeah.
the baby that they need to travel with is now not available, and
Yeah.
people get very upset with that. So, like we
Yeah.
all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once again, you look at the whole big picture, right down to the customer and their feelings, up to the strategy and where the business is going and how it must be structured. And I must say, I really commend you guys for that. You've done a superb job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we've had a lot of key takeaways. Thank you, Hein. And again, I apologize if you guys can't see Hein.
Well,
We had a little
well,
bit of
maybe they would have hung up if they saw my face, Elon.
definitely not, definitely not. No repairs needed there, Hein. So, but the point is, we all heard Hein's wonderful insights and sharings. And yeah, we thank you, Hein. We really thank you for being part of this platform and benefiting, franchisees out there, what they can expect from their franchisor and should expect, and prospective franchisors, what the learnings can be in expanding their businesses.
Sure.
So
Well,
we really
again,
appreciate you
I
sharing.
don't know. I don't know what you do now, but the franchise partners at the time was really the
I've
people
lost you there.
through yourself and Benita and whatever. You directed us in the right or you sent us in the right direction. So there was lots of help from you people.
Sorry. Okay, sorry, I lost you there, Hein. Can you just recap that?
Yeah, I said that I heard what you said, but don't forget that we got all this information from the then franchise partners of which you were part of, and
Thank you, thank you.
and what is the next thing to do? And Philip was part of franchise partners, and Philip also was head of APSA franchising prior to that. So that there was a lot of knowledge that came with you guys.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for that, Hein. Okay, so I'm going to let you go now. And if a lot of people watch this after the live show, so if you've got any questions on LinkedIn or on the mastermind group, please post them, and Hein I'll make sure that Hein gets to answer them.
Yeah, 100%. Will do.
Cool. Thank you so much, Hein. Thanks for your time and for your input once again.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate that.